Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome, Cheap Shot Nation. You're watching Quick Shot Reviews, the dedicated movie channel for Cheap Shot Entertainment. As ever, I'm your host Luke and you are the Cheap Shot Nation. And today's video is going to be concentrating around a popular horror comedy series. And we are going to look at Scary Movie 2 from 2001. Is it going to be one of those popular tropes where the sequel is not as good as the original? Join us for the main part of the video to find out. But before we do that, make sure you subscribe. Join us on social media, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And we'll see you in a bit. So, as I've already mentioned, Scary Movie 2 is a sequel to the popular horror comedy released in 2000 known as Scary Movie, which followed loosely the plot of Scream from 1996. This one was released in 2001 and was directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans, one of the many thousands of Wayans brothers to grace us with their presence. So let's get into the basic story. A group of teens, including Cindy Campbell from the original and Brenda Meeks from the original, are invited to spend a night at Hell House with Professor Oldman, played by Tim Curry, has convinced them it is for a school project. But the night won't go past quietly, with Master Kane, played by Richard Mole, is long dead, but still plans on enjoying himself, especially with Alex Monday, played by Tori Spelling, also mentioned in the original Scream, rather, not in Scary Movie. When things really start getting bad, the gang must work together to find a way to capture this ghostly menace. Basically, it turns into an episode of Scooby-Doo. Like I've mentioned, Anna Faris plays Cindy Campbell, Marlon Wayans plays Shorty, Christopher Matheson plays Buddy, and the dynamic between Cindy Campbell and Buddy is quite funny, the ongoing joke throughout the whole thing. Sean Wayans plays Ray, Regina Hall plays Brenda, Tori Spelling plays Alex, Professor Oldman is played by the delightful Tim Curry, and Chris Elliott plays Hanson, the how do you describe it? The shock relief of the movie. So, what are my thoughts on Scary Movie 2? Straight away, I'm going to go in and say it's not as good as the original. The original had a good premise. It took the piss out of popular horror movies. It followed the plot of Scream and then added other things as well, popular horror tropes, which it then took the piss out of. But it also added some other things as well besides horror movies. It referenced The Matrix. It did all sorts of other things as well, and politically it was very much charged as a political satire as well, especially at the very beginning, where there's a lot of people, it's a circus, and then all the kids are like behind them going, yeah, I'm on TV, and then so that is from the first one. Absolutely brilliant movie. If you see this movie as, yes, it is a sequel in name, but it's slightly different. It's got the same characters. It's a wonderful cast. Let's get that right. It's a wonderful cast. I just feel like the plot needed toning down a little bit. It needed a bit more coherency but the jokes, they tried to do too much. So basically, the haunted house that they're in was the scene of an exorcism, obviously taking off the delightful film known as The Exorcist. And it's a nice little sequel with lots of references to all sorts of things that you know as horror. Of course, the remake of The Haunting and House on Haunted Hill came a couple of years earlier, so borrowing heavily from those. And yeah, it's not a patch on the original, but it is a nice little sequel. It's definitely more disgusting than funny, and it is very on the nose with the sexual references throughout the film. It does have its funny moments. The thing that really worked with the first one is that it followed the plot of a popular scary movie, which I've already mentioned, which is Scream, and it added over-exaggerated funny moments, like the first part of the first one, where the girl was running away from the killer and she got three options. She got a banana, a candlestick, and a gun. And she picks up the banana, and then she goes, and it's like death, and if you want to live, go this way. If you want death, that way. It was just over the top, and it was hilarious because you could spot the horror tropes. Scary Movie 2 is all right. The story isn't great, and it's pretty much just joke after joke. I mean, Shorty getting rolled up into a spliff and then getting I hope I don't get taken off YouTube for mentioning the word spliff. Gets rolled up into a spliff in his blanket and lit up by one of his marijuana plants. I mean, that is pretty on the nose, but it's quite funny. But there are some, like I said, there's some funny parts. It's not hilarious, but watching this one makes me want to watch the others, and I'm going to continue to watch them. It's definitely better than epic movie, disaster movie, superhero movie, Meet the Spartans, and it was just the catalyst for so many bad movies. It was unbelievable. There are an awful lot of these movies, but none as funny as the original Scary Movie. That has a little bit of heart. It has better jokes. It has characters that you either care about or you don't. And, it's a parody on exactly what it's supposed to be, a scary movie. It's not laugh out loud funny, Scary Movie 2, but again, it does have its moment. My final verdict on this one is give it a go. If you like the original one, this one's definitely worth following up on, and Scary Movie 3 and 4 are also reasonable as well. So that is my take on Scary Movie 2. If you've watched Scary Movie, if it's one of your favourite films, if you absolutely hated it, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought of the film. You can also join us on social media, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Scary Movie. Not at Scary Movie. What am I talking about? Cheap Shot Entertainment. Don't forget to go and look at the Squared Circle Jobbers. You play SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 in the general manager mode if you're into your wrestling and your gaming. Also check out the Big Boss Book Club podcast, and you might hear a familiar voice on there. So you can find that on all popular podcasting platforms. And with that, you are Cheap Shot Nation. I have been your host, Luke, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.